What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over my top 5 defenses. Little early view, but it's my top 5 defenses for 2022. Also going to throw in a couple other tasty treats to keep your eyes on in the 2022 fantasy football season when it comes to talking about the defensive position in fantasy football, guys. And if you have not already come and joined the Catch fam, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that like button. It truly makes a difference. Come on and join the Catch fam. We're a great community. We love talking about cheese, which I've got right here. We got some cheese right here. We love talking about good movies, right? I got my guy, Nick Cage here. This is a great gift, guys. Nick Cage colored books. I always recommend it, guys. And we talk about fantasy football here at the Catch fam. Most importantly, guys, let's get right into it. Let's get into the top 5 defenses. Up first, my number 1 defense, guys, it is for sure the Dallas Cowboys. They were exhilarating to watch last year. The headline reason for why I like them again is, man, this division is a hot mess, right? We got Carson Wentz coming over here. As a Colts fan, you know, I can gladly slay that we are not going to have to deal with him anymore. But now the Washington Commanders, they got Dan Snyder to deal with. They got Carson Wentz to deal with. They got Antonio Gibson fumbling all over the place. That team is going to be a hot mess throwing turnovers. Well, we got Trayvon Diggs. We got Jordan Lewis. We got DeMarcus Lawrence on this defense that are going to be hungry. I know Derek Lincoln, a fellow Catch fam subscriber, he's going to be loving the fact that the Cowboys are going to be hungry on defense. I think they return a ton of turnovers next year, just like they did last year. I think this team is going to be healthier too, having Van Der Esch back. This is going to be a good group. I love to see it. I think Micah Parsons is going to get to another level too. I mean, hell, he was amazing in his rookie year, but there's so much more that he can grow into as a defender, especially off of the edge as well, which I think they're going to use him a little bit more at the edge role. Number 2, Buffalo Bills, baby. I mean, we're talking about the best secondary, especially safety pairing in the game, bar none, in my opinion, between Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer back there. Those guys are absolute ball hawks. Micah Hyde, his range is incredible. The guy can go all over the place. I think this defense and the fact that they are set up so nicely in that secondary, just so many guys that can play really good man coverage with Tre'Davious White. Now they bring over Kyer Elam from Florida, who is a tremendous man covered corner at Florida. Those guys, and then having that amazing safety secondary too. Well, guess what? Now we're bringing in Von Miller, right? You already had Ed Oliver. You already had Greg Rousseau. That is going to free up a ton of balls that just get chucked up there in the air for those guys to come down and get those turnovers. And you're also playing another weak division as well. Not trying to take too many shots at my guy, Mac Jones, who's really good at limiting the turnovers, but you got Zach Wilson, you got Tua. And I know there's some hype around that Dolphins team right now, but Tua was not a great quarterback throughout his career so far. So I am still going to put my money on this Buffalo Bills defense to turn it up, man. Number 3, I know I'm a homer. I know I love these guys. I've been a fan forever, but the Indianapolis Colts, man, I got a lot of hope in them this year. Part of it's because of Matt Ryan coming over here. I think it's going to add some solidity, right? But we're talking defense here, right? This defense is going to be hungry this year. I love Stephon Gilmore coming over, right? This was a defense that was already one of the best defenses in fantasy football last year. People were loving them, especially towards the back half of the year, right? These guys were dudes that everybody was going after on the waiver wires while they were still available, and then nobody was letting them go because they were just so consistent, and the turnovers were coming in plenty with these guys. That is how they coach them up. I understand we lost our defensive coordinator to the Chicago Bears. I'm not worried about it, right? We came in here, we reinvested. We still got DeForest Buckner causing all chaos in the middle, right? Our linebacking core led by Darius Leonard. It's looking amazing. I'm loving this Indianapolis Colts team. And again, I'm going to hammer it again and again and again, because when you're talking defenses, it's all about matchups. And the Colts have by far the best schedule in my mind and the best division to be exploiting when talking about defense, right? You got the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got Trevor Lawrence, who's too worried about his hair and his golden locks. Instead of, he's not even looking at what's happening on the field, right? You got the Houston Texans. I love you, Davis Mills, but we're coming after you next year. And then you got the Tennessee Titans, who I think are going to be in for a pretty bad year this year comparatively to how they've been in the past. I know Ryan Tannehill, who's pretty consistent, but with the A.J. Brown departure, Derrick Henry coming back off the injury, I think the Colts are going to be able to really capitalize on a weak division this year, and I just want every piece of that if I can. As a fantasy owner, I want a defense that can make a difference at a competitive advantage at the defensive role. Up next, we're talking the New England Patriots, Mr. Sticky. This is just a sticky defense, right? I look at this depth chart. You know, nobody really even jumps off the board, right? Other than Matthew Judon, who had a tremendous career year last year, right? Devin McCourty getting older, he's still there. But this is really about the Belichick system, right? You're talking Steve Belichick, the tongue-licking guy who's all over the place, licking his tongue up, down, left and right and center. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on your Google machine. Look up Steve Belichick tongue. Okay, it'll come up with some good photos for sure. We broke it down a lot last year, right? But Bill Belichick brings a solid defense every year. Guys, this is a defense that is going to turn value for you no matter what. And more than likely, they're not even going to get drafted, or they're going to get drafted to the very end, because this isn't an exciting roster. There's nobody that jumps off the page. The LA Rams, who I'm repping right now on my jersey, this is going to be a defense that gets drafted all over the place. But comparatively, they were relatively, I didn't think that they returned their value last year. And they've got a really hard division. They got a lot of exciting offenses in that Rams division. Whereas the Patriots, I mean, they're going to go against some weaker quarterbacks too, outside of Josh Allen as well. I love the Patriots again next year. My last defense in the top 5, guys, it's the New Orleans Saints, man. These guys, I mean, just in the same cloth as the New England Patriots when we're talking defense, right? These guys every single year are in the run, right? They're in that top 5, top 10 number every single time. You can always bank on them. The difference between the Saints and the Patriots, though, is this is a defense that's got a ton of talent. Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu, CJ Gardner-Johnson. This defense is full of guys that just love to get after it. They're big hitters. They make turnovers left and right. I think Allen's a great coach on the defensive side. This is obviously a Saints team, too, that is not punting on the season, right? They're coming for dubs. No doubt about it. I think this is going to be a Saints team to be reckoned with. They are going to be able to exploit 2 of the worst teams in football next year, more than likely the Carolina Panthers, unless they get Baker Mayfield, which still, as of July 2nd, is left to be determined, and also Marcus Mariota with the Atlanta Falcons. So I love this opportunity, right? And hey, they also do very well against Tampa Bay and Mr. Tom Brady too, historically as well. So I like the Saints defense. I would be happy to stream them all up and down next year. And guys, I told you I was going to throw some tasty treats, right? We're talking Parmesan type of tasty treats, all right? That's what we're talking here, okay? So we got the Cleveland Browns, all right? Now, why am I talking about the Cleveland Browns, right? They've got a hot mess going on in the quarterback spot right now. So much in the air, right? This offense can either be, boom, really good, or this offense can be Jacoby Brissett bad, right? And we love the brisket here at the Catch Fam, but that Browns offense is going to not be as pretty if Jacoby Brissett is the guy at the helm, right? But anyways, I am talking the Cleveland Browns because if you can get these guys off the waivers week 1, throw them in your lineup, let's look at who they're playing the first 4 weeks of the season. This is one of the best schedules that you can exploit as a fantasy owner, and you can really make a difference. I mean, this is 10+ points every single week, depending on what your league settings are set up as, right? Carolina Panthers, week 1. I was already talking about how bad they are. New York Jets, Zach Wilson. My little bit of a celeb crush on this guy. I do love my man, Zach Wilson, but man, he is really inaccurate, not a good quarterback. Then we're talking Mitchell Trubisky and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another just great opportunity. And then cap it off. Get that icing all over that carrot cake right there. Number 4, week 4, Atlanta Falcons, Marcus Mariota, if he's even still the quarterback, guys. That is 4 weeks in a row where you can stream against probably one of the worst offenses in the league, maybe with the exception of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who might be somewhat relevant, but I still think they're going to be good to exploit against. Listen, Cleveland Browns, especially in a deeper league, I would definitely go after them just for those first 4 weeks and then drop them, because after the first 4 weeks, they're playing the Chargers and then the Patriots, and I don't want any part of that. Last thing I want to talk about, guys, is the defense that I would warn you to stay away from. This is my biggest bust for fantasy football defenses next year, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. They were actually a top 8 defense last year. I was a little surprised by it when I went back and looked at the numbers. I was like, you know what? I knew they had their ups and downs. I knew they did really well in the end of the season like they always do. But man, top 8, they finished better than some other defenses that I thought were way better. I'm not touching them next year. They lost the Honey Badger. The offense obviously took a step back, which significantly hurts a defense fantasy-wise. Now you're talking about the leading edge guys, or like George Karlaftis, the rookie who cannot rush. Historically at Purdue, he was not built that way. He's just not a pure pass rusher. I understand they still got Chris Jones. I understand they got Frank Clark, but this is a defense that is not real sexy, and they lost some key pieces over the offseason. I'm not loving them as a unit. I think they're going to take a big step back. And I think the loss of Honey Badger is huge. And I think the fact that this offense is not going to be as explosive is also huge. And so this is a no-fly zone for me. I am not touching the Kansas City Chiefs next year in fantasy football. And I would say that this is a big bust opportunity right here. I think there's going to be some other defenses that step up. And I would gladly take the Cleveland Browns, like I just said, over the Kansas City Chiefs for those first 4 weeks at least. And with that said, guys, that has been my sneak peek into the top 5 defenses for fantasy football in 2022. Hope you loved the video. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out the links below as well, guys. And remember, you saw it here first at the catch.